cool people. That's very cool to get the privilege to introduce to you. You're welcome. Do you want to do the first introduction?
Yeah, he was once, of course, the world's youngest professional ice skater. He's a speed reader, a charity creator, a dog lover, and the man behind a visual effects company appropriately called Boy Wonder. Please welcome Burt Ward.
He's had an incredible career spanning 50 years. He's made nearly 50 movies. He's had starring roles in numerous TV series. He's lent his voice to several animated series and is the supporter of many charities, but of course we all know him and love him best for his role as the Cape Crusader, classic Batman. Please welcome Adam West. Keep it going. I think he wants a little bit more. There we go.
Again!
We're
going to be opening this up to the floor, of course, but we have a couple of questions first. We want to go first?
Well, I mean, you're still drawing these huge crowds, and it all goes back to, the start with classic Batman. So your thoughts with both of you on why this character has become so iconic and continues to draw such a crowd?
Adam is a man of very few words. No. Well, I guess to answer that question is because we appeal to a very broad audience, our show. Yes, broad. Yeah, no, broad, singular.
God damn it.
And for kids, that was the hero worship, and for the teenagers and college kids, it was the double meanings and the double entendres, and for the adults, it was nostalgia of the comic book. Adam and I had a great time. We worked very well together. I think one of the few actors and co-stars that worked really well together. We always had a great time, and I think that the fun that we had making the show translated to the audience watching the show. You guys had as much fun as we did. So let me give you Adam, and he'll give you his viewpoints.
Well, I think that says it.
Well, I'm curious to know, and I'm sure you've been asked this a million times before, but I would love to know what you think of some of the newer iterations of Batman. You guys are the playful dynamic. Actually, before I lead into that, let's talk about your dynamic, because I think that that's part of what people have been so in love with, what's made it so enduring. How is it? Did you guys like each other right off the bat?
You know, when a series starts to fade, as ours did in the third season, because the studio wanted to, recoup the money, and we were the most expensive series ever shot at that point in time. When a series starts to go a little bit downhill, and we started at the very top, the characters must remain irrepressible. Because if they don't, you folks ain't going to be interested. So Burt and I worked very hard to keep all of this fresh, and every day the comedy on the set, the stage, that people would have the right kind of mood and take on what we were doing. Because Batman was really social satire, if you will. And we worked very hard with all of those great guest stars. My God, we had some wonderful people to make it, a success. Like Burt said, the kids loved it, and as you got older, you grew into adulthood, you began to get the jokes, which is great. And now, Family Guy. I only wish that Burt were there with me, because as mayor of Quahog, I could use an assistant.
I think we will see Burt. Family Guy, are you going to be there? Been there. Right.
Well, I don't know. I can't say what the future holds about that, but I have signed to star in another reality series, actually in a reality series about my dog rescue. My wife and I, as a charity, operate the largest giant breed dog rescue in the world. It's called Little Giants. And in the last 18 years, we've saved the lives of more than 14,000 dogs. And we've actually found a way for dog lovers to double the lifespan of their dogs, which you can go on our website and read how we've done it, with how you care for them, how you feed them. But because of what we've done, and because in our unique case, all of our dogs live in our house with us. So at all times, we have about 50 giant dogs that live in our house. And it's quite something different. But because of that, it seems to be attractive, and people are going to be interested in seeing the show, I think.
The dog food.
Well, we can't sell it here in Canada yet, but we have made a food that doubles the lifespan of dogs. It's the real thing. We have dogs that normally live 7 to 9 years, such as our giant breeds, living 14 to 18 years. We have small breeds that live as long as 26 years of age. This is a new technology. You can read about it at GentleGiantsRescue.com. It's all charity. My wife and I make no money on the rescue and no money on the dog food. It's all about life, the most precious commodity in the world.
Well, thank you.
If you want to start making a lineup.
That's why I'm eating Burt's dog food.
And he looks pretty damn good, doesn't he?
Well, before we get to questions from the floor, obviously, synonymous with Batman, the rumors have it that you were spotted on the set of the upcoming Dark Knight Rises. Can you comment on that? Are they true, or do you want to verify, or do you want to get that taken off Wikipedia?
On set of the Christopher Nolan's latest Batman
movie, The Dark Knight Rises. A magazine has reported that.
True?
Oh, deflecting.
You can't believe what you read.
The internet isn't always true.
No.
I'm 7 feet tall online.
Here's something we also heard. Here's a different type of rumor. We heard that you like to do voices.
Impressions. Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze.
Now, Batman and Mr. Freeze are having dinner, right? The late George Sanders. And our end of the table is kind of reddish in color because it's warm, sort of normal. But Mr. Freeze's end of the table, of course, is a dark, very icy, bluish green. And at the end of the meal, he says to Batman, "Back to Alaska, Batman. Back to Alaska." And then we had, of course, Liberace for 2 weeks on the set. Remember the late Liberace? Well, Liberace was, kind of a pianist and a singer and an entertainer who was
Fingers.
Yes, Fingers Liberace and the great Chandel.
Yes.
Now, for 2 weeks, because he played 2 characters, one of them was supposed to be really tough. Liberace walked around in the set, and Burt and I would hear him trying to be tough. Like this. "All right, you guys. Just stop that, or I'll slap you right now." Somebody bring my candelabra. I mean, it was so nutty. The people we had on the show, it was really fun because, and now people are imitating us.
We should probably open this up to the floor. So let's start on
Left side, then we'll go right side, and back and forth.
So you guys seem pretty friendly together up there. What kind of relationship did you guys have after the show stopped running?
After the show stopped running, did you maintain a friendly relationship?
Adam and I, let me tell you something. I honestly believe that why Batman was so successful was 2 reasons. One, because it really was innovative, different, it was bigger than life. And who doesn't want to be a superhero? Just about everybody in our world. But also, what Adam and I did, which I haven't seen anybody else do, is that we really just had fun doing it. Honestly, we had a lot of fun. And of course, in those days, it's a little different than it is now, because in those days there were these things called censors, you know, where you're not allowed to say this, you're not allowed to imply this, you can't make funny gestures or have, I mean, for example, I couldn't put my arm around Adam and say, gosh, Bruce, you're right, because it might have other implications. So, because we had such fun doing the show, we couldn't care less about those censors, and we did whatever we wanted to. Most people enjoyed that, and we were in trouble every week, constantly. They would be, so you can't do that. I mean, there was problems about how we fit in our costumes. There was just every conceivable thing that you could imagine, but we really had a great time. We also had a great time off the screen, because we would go out after the series and make personal appearances. Even during the series, there was a lot of wild times that Adam would go into great detail now about.
Wild times. I want to hear about the
wild times. Oh no, okay, better not.
There are no censors here, so.
Talk about what was in your costume. Mine. My ties were itchy, that's all. What's the next?
Okay, all right.
Next to the right side.
Hi. When I was growing up, I was a really big fan of YouTube. Like, really big fan. I grew up watching both the Batman show and everything. But I think I'm going to go with something a little bit more contemporary. In Boondocks, when you defended R. Kelly, Mr. West, was it really about racism?
Would you repeat part of that?
So in Boondocks,
Yeah.
was it really about racism? Was that about racism? Boondocks. Is this an episode? The name of an episode?
Yes, in the Boondocks, the show when he played the defense lawyer, and he was defending R. Kelly.
Okay, so were you in a show called Boondocks?
Could you come up here and I can hear you? Is it possible? Come on. What'd you say?
I was saying in the episode of the Boondocks, the show on cartoon, yeah.
Adult Swim.
When you played the defense attorney, was it really about the racism, or were you just doing it for the paycheck?
I was doing it for the paycheck.
Okay, there we go. All right, left-hand side, yes.
One of my favorite staples from the original show was the
How come you get coffee and I don't? I'm supposed to be the number one guy. I always gets the stuff I don't. Hey.
Go ahead.
Okay, one of my favorite staples of the original series was all the conveniently placed gadgets that you guys had to deal with any situation, such as the bat anti-shark repellent. I was wondering what creative input you had over the gadgets that Batman used, if any, and if you had any favorite gadgets that particularly stood out as being very inventive.
Favorite gadget?
Did you have any input on which gadgets you got to use on the show? Did you ever create a gadget?
Oh, certainly.
Yeah?
After the first 2 weeks, after everything settled down and the memos stopped flying from Europe and different places to the set saying, what the hell are those two guys doing? Then they saw the dailies, they saw something put together, and the nicest thing happened that can happen to any actor. They trusted us. Ask Johnny Depp with the Pirates movies what happened. The same kind of stuff. They trusted Burt, and they trusted me, and then everything was just jake. We could kind of do what we wanted. We could improvise, and we could do, certain staging or whatever. They took our input, which is a wonderful thing that can happen to an actor. Thank you.
Do you get any input on Family Guy with your character? Do you get to improvise lines when you're recording your dialogue for Family Guy?
Yes, you get a little input there.
Yeah.
But Seth MacFarlane, who created it and does some of the voices, Seth and I go back a ways, and we have kind of the same comic sensibilities. We both think funny, as Burt does. Think funny. Cuisine. So, all Seth had to do was call me, and I said, yeah.
Could you pick that up?
And, you know, it's theater of the absurd. And I like that. Come on, let's all be absurd.
I loved watching you both as a kid, and I'm wondering if you're ever going to, or if you know if they're ever going to be able to release your old Batman show on DVD or Blu-ray.
Well, honestly, we don't know. It's not our choice. We'd love to have it out. Everybody seems to ask Adam and I about that, and it's really 20th Century Fox who made the show, negotiating with Warner Brothers, who owns the character rights. And if they can come to some agreement, which we hope eventually they will, then everybody will have access to our show. We'd like that.
And if there's any kind of disillusionment or disappointment, or if you're somehow distressed because you can't see those, you might punch in AdamWest.com and get the DVD called Adam West Naked, in which I exposed all. I never wanted to know about 120 episodes.
That sounds scandalous.
Thanks.
Title alone.
Oh, yes. If there is ever a DVD, though, you guys have to insist to do the commentary. You guys would be hilarious. Gotta do this. Yes. Superman.
Hi, this is a question for Mr. West. There was an animated series that was airing a few years back called Batman Beyond, where an older Bruce Wayne in the future passes the torch to a younger kid, and he becomes Batman. If this animated series ever became a movie in the future, would you be interested in playing that role of the older Bruce Wayne? Because that would be a great idea.
Let's send a check.
So I'll take that as a yes. Awesome, thank you.
Good question. Great Sweaty.
Do you think the network censors of the 60s back then were about the same or worse than what they do for current TV shows today?
What were your experiences with the censors and how they restricted you back then? And do you think that in present day, censors aren't as strict as they used to be, or have they just changed? Or what are your thoughts on the current state of censorship in television?
Have you ever seen 2.5 Men?
Yeah.
Even Seinfeld. I mean, you know, it's really changed, yeah. You know, it's really on the edge now.
When we were doing the show, you couldn't do a lot of things that today you wouldn't even think twice about doing. So there was a lot of censorship, and it was just a sign of the times. But you know, the things. For example, I'll give you a quick example if you want. There was a scene where Batman and Robin are in the Batcave. We had brought Batgirl in to see the Batcave, and we'd given her a whiff of bat gas so she wouldn't recognize the Batcave, where it was located. And then on the way out, just before we left with her, Batman gave her another whiff of bat gas, and she kind of went to sleep temporarily. And there was some dialogue that Adam and I had where I said to Batman, I said, "Gosh, Batman, you know, Batgirl is really pretty." Don't go away, Adam. He's really embarrassed by this. We want to give them a chance to laugh. So, I had that line, "Gosh, Batman, isn't Batgirl, you know, very pretty?" And he had a line that was something like, you know, "Gee, Robin, I'm glad you noticed, you know, it shows that you're, you know, coming of age," or something like that. Well, Adam doesn't make very many mistakes. He really doesn't. But when he messed up 14 takes in a row, I knew there had to be another alternative reason for that. So he's really a very smart man. What he does, he knows the director at some point is going to panic and get to the point where the director, if we get through the shot, no matter what we say, he's going to say, cut, print, let's move on to the next shot. So when we got to that 15th take, and you have to understand, back in 1966, it cost about $30,000 an hour to film Batman. That's what it cost, $30,000 an hour. So we'd probably spent about $17,000, $18,000 in goof-ups. So it came to that last take, and I didn't know it was going to be number 15. I didn't know. All I know is I kept saying my lines, gosh, Batman, you know, Batgirl is really very attractive. And I know that Adam remembers the line, but he wouldn't want to say it now, but I'll say it for him. He said, you know, Robin, I'm glad that you noticed that. It shows the oncoming thrust of manhood. Why Adam and I have such a wonderful relationship, and I really love this man, is he is the wildest, craziest animal on this planet, but he likes to come across very calm and sophisticated, like Winston Churchill. And I think he even, what did you say in your book that you understood how Charlton Heston felt when he played Moses? So, I mean, you know, this is a great guy who couldn't work with anybody funnier, crazier, or wilder.
You remind me of something, Burt. There was a time when we were musing. We were trying to solve this heinous crime. And there was a large statuette, if you will, of a golden cat representing Catwoman that she'd left behind or something. Now, we'd done a few takes. I can't.
I think you got it now.
You have to.
And Burt said,
wait a minute, was this with the two cats that we were trying to put together to make a map, and we put them in a numerical position just under the number 70? Could that have been what you're referring to? That you were cross-eyed in your mask, laughing so hard, and you made me laugh, and we laughed through 12 takes, and the director said we're going to laugh him out of the business? Or Oscar Rudolph, remember that poor director? Yes.
It was the line, which you were saying something to me about the statue.
What did you know?
Come on. Well, I said, don't touch that golden pussy, Robin.
Oh man.
From that gas to golden pussies.
It's really a stretch. But
There's some little kids up here who are just...
great audience. You're nice to put up with this. You know, if you don't keep comedy fresh, you know, it's very difficult to make it work.
Next from the floor.
Yes, I have two questions. First, what was the most obscure thing that both of you have done? And second, aside from your notable roles like Mayor West, Batman, and Robin, what are your next favorite roles that you've done?
So I guess he's asking a two-part question. The most obscure job that you've ever done, or reference in your careers that maybe people don't know about. I'm getting that right? And also your favorite roles beyond Mayor West, Batman, and Robin, things that are dear to your heart otherwise.
I understand that. I played the Galloping Gazelle.
From what?
It's obscure.
It was in Canada, too. It was just terrible. I had to wear this big funny suit, which I still have. The Galloping Gazelle? Burt, did you ever have a bad experience, except with me, you know?
No, I don't think I had the kind of wild experiences that I'm aware that you've had, but I come from a more conservative basis here, but we have had a lot of fun together, and you can see that we still have a lot of fun now together. We wish we could tell you everything, but we can't. Oh, he will? Oh, are you? Oh, are you? Holy Bat Challenge? He knows me better. He knows that I won't stop if I...
You've been a wonderful audience. And we have things we have to do. Okay, what's next?
I think this side. Yeah.
Hello. Hey, love you guys both. You're awesome. And this is directed to Mr. Ward here. Can I get a legit holy Batman?
Looking for a Robin exclamation of something blank, blank, blank Batman.
Holy something blank Batman.
Give us your best.
Holy strawberries, Batman, are we in a jam?
Thank you very much. Great question. Great question.
This was a continuing challenge to Burt's mentality. To be able to say those things with any meaning. And it became a game with Burt to make up his own on the set as we went along. You know, screw the writer, I'm going to do my own. Like entering a Mexican restaurant. Holy guacamole, Batman.
Is it true that you said holy?
Well, you know, it wasn't just the holies. We had, both of us had some very challenging lines where, you know, it was difficult. Some of these things that the writers would write were tongue twisters. I think I had one that was, gosh, Batman, haven't we some anti-ballistic bat flax in our utility belts? You try to say that 4 or 5 times fast.
Mr. West, Mr. Ward, can you confirm this urban legend that they tried to sneak foreign swear words into dialogue of Batman?
Ooh. The urban legend that you tried to sneak foreign swear words into the dialogue on Batman. Is there any truth to this legend?
There was some truth. The writers did that. They toyed with that, and you know, they had some fun with it. Yeah.
Yeah, one of our writers was a very dear friend of Adam and I. His name was Stanley Ralph Moss. And I don't remember exactly the show that it was on. I think it was a Catwoman show where he had put something into the show that he thought was okay, and the censors came down on him and said, no, you can't have that in the screenplay. So what we ended up doing, or what he ended up doing, is put in some Russian words that were really not nice. And because the censors didn't know Russian, they didn't know, and of course that went on the air, and you know, he got, I guess, kind of even for that. He also wrote that one line with Catwoman, and the only time Catwoman had an assistant played by Leslie Gore. You remember that show with Pussycat? And he wrote the line where Leslie Gore came up to me and said, "Hi, Robin." She said, "You know, my name is Pussycat, but you can call me Cat."
It's all timing.
Speaking of Catwoman.
Give it up for Catwoman's costume. That's awesome.
Hello again, Mr. West.
Just like Eartha Kitt.
Yeah, I can't find it.
On the topic of the villains, I have to ask both of you. There's been a lot of talk about the most iconic villain that Batman has ever faced, who is considered his greatest adversary. Most people will say Joker, some will say Catwoman, and some will say someone else. And since you two have tangled with multiple of these personalities, who would you say is Batman's greatest foe?
I think you have to say Gallon. I think you have to.
I will not be mad if you don't say.
Well, I think because of the extreme sexual tension and it would be Catwoman. And she promised to date me when she gets out of jail.
Maybe if you remember that a little later, we can maybe finish up on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Going to the left aisle here.
Hello, Burt.
Oh, speak up a bit.
Hello, Burt. Adam wrote in his book, Back to the Batcave, that there were complaints from the censors about your shorts. And you had to take medication to get the bulge away or something.
This is absolutely shocking.
I'm really concerned. What was that medication? And weren't you concerned about permanent damage?
Burt, stand up. Show them your shorts. Ridiculous.
But there were some...
We were accused from time to time of doing strange things in our shorts. That is, they thought that Burt, before a take, would stuff a large towel in his shorts to enhance his
superpowers.
None of this was true. It was pure West.
But there was some controversy around the shorts, right? Didn't the Catholic, one of the Catholic lead?
No, what happened was, it was a situation where, because man is not built for tights, right, that it is normal that a normal person with a tight fabric, tight around certain parts of their body, would have a certain bulge. Okay. However, the Catholic Legion of Decency complained. They thought that was too much. So they made me go through this rigmarole where they made me wear different kinds of clothes and underwear and restraints. And they finally found this quack doctor at 20th Century Fox that gave me these pills, supposedly. I took them once, and after that I said, no, I mean, this could really mess me up for life. Where the problem came, there was a show called The Londinium Larcenies. I don't know if you remember that show. Adam and I, it was a three-parter that was quite popular. There was all these girls that were grabbing me while we were on camera. And of course that could cause an irregularity. some kind of a problem, you know, a costume malfunction.
Wardrobe malfunction, technical term.
Okay.
All right.
Expert. You're right. Costuming problems.
Moving on.
This question is for Mr. West. Were you as upset as I was that Christopher Nolan from Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises didn't contact you first and chose Christian Bale instead of you for his films?
Who? I don't know.
Well, have you seen the Christopher Nolan films, and what are your thoughts on them? What do you think of the darker take on?
Well, you know, I've had maybe one or two thoughts, and they really end up in a strange no man's